welcome Molly Burke. Molly Burke, welcome to The Daily Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is such a fun moment for me because I've seen so many of your videos. You know, you aren't just funny, you aren't just engaging, but you dispel so many of the myths around how we see blind people, how we even think about people with disabilities. And I think on a day like today especially, it's really cool to have you here because I'd love to know just like the beginnings of it all.
Yes.
You have a disability and you know, you go into the world, not just living your life, but thinking, how do I basically educate idiots? Which is what I feel like you do. I think I've
exactly
been
the
idiots
goal,
about a lot
actually.
of it.
Exactly
Yes.
the goal. You know, I was diagnosed with a rare eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa when I was 4 years old. And so at that time, the doctors told my parents, one day she's going to go blind, but we don't know when it will be.
Wow.
So I was kind of preparing my whole childhood, and I was slowly losing my vision. And then at 14, I very quickly lost the majority, leaving me now only with light and shadow. And at the time, I lost all of my friends. I was very badly bullied. And all of a sudden, society started treating me very different than how I was treated as an able-bodied person. And I was really angry for a long time. But in my own journey to recovery, I realized I can either be a victim and sit here and be angry that society does not understand, or I can actively be a part of educating society and taking that ignorance and changing it. By doing that, hopefully changing the discrimination that disabled people face.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. And you know, when you talk about discrimination, I hope people understand the levels that it comes on, because it's truly wild to see. For instance, there are people out there who still will say to you, oh, you're faking it. Oh, you're not blind. Oh, how come your eyes are blue? This is not a thing. And I was shocked to see how many stereotypes we have internalized about, you know, blind people just, you know, alone. Like, talk me through that. How many people think you're just not blind?
Oh, I mean, there's whole Reddit threads devoted to dispelling that I'm blind. Somebody said I know too much about blindness to have never been blind, but that I must have gotten better, like it's the flu or something. It's very much not like that. I promise I don't like hold the secret cure for blindness. The reality is most people will never meet a blind person in their lifetime. And so the only way we access things like blindness or disability in general is often through the media. And historically, we've had very little representation, and when we do, it's a lot of misrepresentation because it's written, directed, and played by able-bodied people who are changing the narrative. And that's why I tried to take social media and use it as a way to take back the narrative for at least myself. I can't be all blind people, but I can share my story as Molly, my experience.
And you know what I love about that is the fact that is exactly what you said, is you've never tried to claim it as your own. You say, hey, I am a blind person, and these are some of the things that the blind community faces, but this is me. And what I like about that is it reminds us to not see people with disabilities as a monolith. You know, so for instance, I learned from you. I didn't know that, you know, you don't have to wear dark glasses. I didn't know that you can look in the direction that you're speaking. Because again, to your point, I've watched movies my whole life. I go like, oh, I know blind people. And it's like, no, I don't. I just watch movies. That's all I basically did, right? What are some of the day-to-day obstacles that you may face as a blind person that I think the rest of us should all be aware of?
I mean, today I'm using a cane, but generally I'm a guide dog user. And I can tell you that just trying to leave my house with my guide dog is a challenge. I've been a guide dog user for 15 years, and sadly, the issues are only getting worse because of, frankly, selfish people who decide to buy fake service dog vests and certificates on Amazon and like take their pets places and give real service dog users a bad name. And then again, because I don't look blind, this stereotype that society has been given of blindness, when I'm like, oh, I'm blind and this is my guide dog, they're like, yeah, I'm sure. And so that's a big issue. So
what, you won't be allowed into, like, what is it, like restaurants, or where do you find you'll get the most pushback?
Ubers and Lyfts is absolutely my nightmare, which is so frustrating because obviously I can't drive. So Uber and Lyft is like what I take the most often. I'm like, I am giving you so much of my hard-earned coin, and you are slapping me in the face by constantly denying me.
Yeah, it's sad, it's infuriating, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's why you laugh about these things online, but we take so many of these things for granted, I feel, because we don't understand the obstacles that are put in place of anybody with a disability. What I found interesting about your journey, though, is you also find ways to, it's not really mock the world, but you exist in it despite the limitations. For instance, I was shocked to hear that you will use dating apps like Tinder.
How else am I supposed to find a man in 2022? I mean, I don't know.
But I really need to understand though, like, so, like, how do you use it?
So I use a screen reader called VoiceOver.
Okay.
And so it reads the bios to me. Obviously, you cannot tell me what the photos look like.
Okay.
So that's where good friends and family come in. And they give me they're like, okay, you don't want to go on a date. And I'm like, got it.
How do they even describe, like, so I would love to know, like, when you meet somebody, again, this is me just basing it on, you know, the few experiences I've had, and then movies, is like, do you even care about what a person looks like? You know, because you'd hear those stories, for instance, you know, from movies, it'd be like, oh, Ray Charles would touch people's faces. He's like, I want to know what you feel like in terms of your face. Do you care, or is it completely different for you?
Yeah, most blind people don't feel faces. That
Okay.
is like a really big movie stereotype.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
Majority of us do not. Can you imagine if I was like, hey, Trevor? Like, it's like very weird, really uncomfortable. And so that's not a thing.
I would do it if I was you, because I would get away with it. No, I'm just saying, as a comedian, I would just do that.
I did it once as a joke. Like,
Yes.
one of my friends was like, hey, I told my girlfriend you feel faces, so go with it. And I was like, got it. And so she like walks in, and I was like, Vanessa. And like, we were all so serious for the whole, and she's just standing there like, bless her soul, just like, because he told her, like, go with it. She'll be upset if you don't.
If you don't let her touch your
Yeah.
face. But you see, this is what I mean. These are misconceptions that we have. These are different ideas. If people want to learn, if people want to educate themselves, there's so many people out there who aren't obviously trying to be against anybody who's disabled, but they really want to learn. What would you recommend for them? You know, what are good resources? Where can they go? How do they learn?
I mean, social media is like the greatest place to turn to, because there are so many disabled people on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, making content, sharing our life experiences, sharing our day-to-day, how we do things, to show that like we can still do what you do, just in a different way.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. I'm stretching my hand out to you. Oh, don't move. I'm stretching my hand out to you to say thank you. There we go. Thank you so
Nice
much.
to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank